Hello everyone, welcome to Zenphi. Zenphi is a no-code business process automation platform built from the ground up for Google Workspace customers. You see, everything you do in your business is a process, whether it's leave of absence approval, whether it's an expense reimbursement, whether it's invoice processing, or maybe something custom to your business. Maybe you're running insurance and you run claim and you've got a specific process to your claims. Zenphi enables you to automate these processes, leveraging existing investment in the systems that you already are familiar with. I'm talking about Google Workspace services like Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Forms, Google Directory, and the other Google services. At the same time, we appreciate, companies mostly use systems outside of the Google Workspace offering, like Asana, Trello, HubSpot, Salesforce, DocuSign. So the good news is that Zenphi enables you to easily automate your simple or sophisticated processes across all these systems with just a few drag and drops in a matter of hours or even less. In fact, we like to say if you can draw a flowchart of your process on a piece of paper on a whiteboard, you can easily automate it on Zenphi. Now, for me, the best way to introduce you to Zenphi is actually to show you around Zenphi. So let's get started. When you first sign up to Zenphi, you land in here. This is your portal. You see a list of spaces that you have created. A space, in our way, is a logical grouping of a process that you may want to automate. Now, for our scenario, I'm going to walk you through this, one of the simple but really useful processes that we automate, and that's a non-disclosure agreement. So in lack of automation, what happens when you have you want to send a non-disclosure agreement to third-party people outside of your organization? You're probably going to have to send an email to your legal. Your legal potentially has got a template there, makes a copy of the template, copy-paste the data in that template file, export it to PDF, upload it to DocuSign or Adobe Sign, send it for signature, and in the meantime, you're sitting there waiting for it to be signed. You probably keep reaching out to legal and say, hey, is it signed? Is it signed? They may get annoyed. I don't know how many times you're going to reach out to them, but and at the same time, you're sitting dark. You don't know what's happening there. Now, let's see what happens with automation. With an investment of like 15 minutes to half an hour investment in there, you can automate and put this process on autopilot. Now, at the heart of Zenphi is the concept of the flow. Flow is normally a one-to-one mapping of your process, or a process could have multiple flows in them, but most of the time you have one flow there. Now, in the case of non-disclosure agreement process, we only have got one flow. Let's look at the flow. When you come to the flow designer, this is what you see. In here, you've got your what we call a flow design canvas. On the left-hand side, you've got your actions. You can drag and drop them here. But every flow, it starts with a trigger, the concept of the trigger. Trigger is what starts your process. In our case, we have decided, the trigger is when someone submits this Google form. Let's have a look at the Google form. This is a Google form, so that's how you can reuse your existing investment. You may have a Google form to capture the requests, but now you can take it an extra step forward and close the last mile of automation. So this is a Google form, nothing really new. You can edit it as you wish. And what you do is that you give this Google form to your employees and say, whenever you want to send an NDA to someone, just submit this Google form. Actually, I'm going to execute it. I'm going to send an NDA to this person. I say, Wahido, and say, yep, CEO of company Acme, and here's their email address. So that's all they need to do. As soon as I press start, behind the scene, let's go back to Zenphi. Behind the scene, an instance of this process gets started. So let's start from the top. This is the trigger. As we said, this is the event which starts the process. You click on it, you can configure it from here. You've got different types of trigger. You can watch for a email inbox when an email arrives. You can watch a folder when someone uploads a file in a folder. You can configure time-based trigger. At this point in time, run this flow, or every Monday run this flow. Or you can even take it one step further. You can create like HTTP trigger to integrate with your third-party systems, which then you may not ever have an integration out of the box. So it's quite easy, and you click on it, as I mentioned, you configure them here. As you can see, all those information on the form gets available to the flow. Now this is our flow. It flows from top to bottom. Our workflow flows from the top to bottom. These boxes you see here, these are what we call actions. These are the building blocks, the Lego blocks of your process. You stack them up together to automate your action, to automate your process, to build logic and automate your process. You can interact with third-party systems, or you can execute a logic. Now let's go through it. So when a form gets submitted, so it comes down here. You want to format we've got an action called format date time. We do it there. We got an action here to do a bit of audit logging. So the way it works is that you either drag and drop an action from here, for example. You can drag and drop it here, or click here and say, I want to add, because we decided to use, in this case, we decided to use Google Sheets as our login storage. We want to add a new row to Google Sheet. If I do that, I say add row. You click on it, and you can start configuring it. Most of the actions, all the ones which interact with the system, with Google system or a third-party system, they need something called connection. Connection is something which enables that action to act on your behalf, or on the behalf of the user who you would like it to act on. So you can, if you've got an existing connection, you can select one. If you don't, it's quite easy. You just click on the plus button, and all you need to do is authenticate with the press authorize and authenticate with the user who would like Zenphi to act on his or her behalf. And from there, there is configurations. Action to actions, configurations are different. You're going to see a few actions I'm going to show you. I already have configured these actions to add a new row to Google Sheet. If I want to show you, it's quite easy. I say go and add a new row to this Google Sheet. Probably a new row is already added. This is Wahid Doe. It's already added. And we keep updating this row. This is basically your audit log. Now, you don't have to use Google Sheet. You can use your custom database. You can use Salesforce. You can use any other systems out there for this. But in our case, we wanted to leverage our existing investment and use Google Sheet because it does the job. And what we say here, you say, I go and get the first sheet 1, and these are the columns there because we say it's got header. Treat the first row as a header. And then what we're saying is that instead of hard coding values, we say, for example, third-party name, we click on this token picker icon, which makes all the values of the previous actions and of the trigger available to use. So in our case, I go and say, I want to put the value which was configured on which was entered on the form, and that's a name. Go and get this value and put it in there. And you can add multiple values. You can mix and match. You can do all those here, or if you want, even you can type it in. And for the date, what I'm doing here, remember we had this action saying the format date because this is a format we want to store the date and time. Like here, I'm going to say, we'll go to the previous action called format date, get the result of it, and add it to column A. So if I go back one more time, you can see column A is formatted like that. Then what happens? Once it's done, it continues to the next action. The next action we're saying we're using something really powerful called generate document. So it's using our NDA template. In our case, is a Google Docs template. Let me show you the template. It's just a standard template that we've got. Now, instead of legal copy pasting this or making a copy and copy pasting it, we are doing placeholder. We put in placeholders here, and from Zenphi is intelligent enough to know those placeholders are there, and we map the values from previous actions or from the trigger to these to those placeholders. And we say, you know what, while you add it, also please export it to PDF, save it in this folder with this file name. So if I go to this folder, I should see a file. As you can see, the PDF file is generated and is stored there, and it's got Bahito and the title of CEO. So I think already your legal team's going to love you. We just joined there. You're removing a lot of manual tasks, but it doesn't end there. Now that we've got that, we do a bit of audit log in Zenphi, and we go and say, you know what, you have the PDF, go and get this action. I'll show you from the toolbar. Action, DocuSign action. It's on send envelope. You drag and drop it here. You start configuring and say, go get the PDF and upload it to DocuSign, send it for signature to the person I have indicated. So the way it works is quite easy. Again, you configure the connection. You say, you know, get the PDF output from a previous action. Zenphi is intelligent enough to automatically suggest what you're most probably to use here. Get the PDF file, and we say, who do you want to send it to? We say, send it to this person. Full name is coming from Trigger, and email also is coming from Trigger. And we've also specified the fields they need to sign. And once you've done that, just what's going to happen is sends it, and wait here to see what happens. What is the decision of the person? Because person can sign it or can decline to sign it. Now, we have sent it. I've got the other mailbox open. As you can see, the email has come through. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to view the documents. Yes, continue. And again, I want to highlight, we decided to use for DocuSign for demo purposes, but you can use other e-signature providers as well. I sign here because that's where I've indicated. Adopt. I'm not going to press finish yet. Actually, let me show you what's going to happen here. Then I'll press finish, and you see. You know, I'm saying, you know, so the workflow is waiting here to see what's the next step. As soon as we hear back from DocuSign that something has happened, then we continue. Here we've drag and drop a logic building action called if condition, one of those things. And it's building a logic. May sound scary, but it's not. It's quite easy. Again, there's no need to write code. You say when I go and get the outcome of the previous action equals to complete, that means it's signed. Then it goes to this branch. Otherwise, it goes to this branch. And when it's going to this branch, we're saying, you know, first thing you want to do, go and save the file to a specific Google Drive folder. I'm going to leave the folder open. So there's nothing there. So we save the file there. And also we're going to notify the requester. So the requester does not need to keep asking us what happened. We'll let you know as soon as it's signed or it's been declined. And then we're going to update the log. And the same similar thing happens here, except we don't save the document because it hasn't been signed. That means it's been declined, comes here, we update it, and so forth. Let me go here, actually press finish. Okay, all good. If I come back here, it's going to take DocuSign a few seconds to come back to us. Yep, there it is. There's a document. If I show you this one, it's going to have to be a signed document. So, and this person, because it was the requester, should receive an email saying that, hey, good news, you know, Rahito just signed the NDA. So as you can see, it's quite easy to automate that process. And building on automating a process like this, depending on your skill in Zenphi, you're looking at anywhere between 15, 20 minutes to 30, 40 minutes. You can automate it, put it on autopilot. Everyone's going to be happy. You provide really good experience to your employees as well. But this is a really simple process. But one of the personal thing I love, you know, I love about solutions like Zenphi in general is that getting started with them is quite easy. You can build solutions which traditionally would have taken you months and months and months, and which would set you back, I don't know how many thousands of dollars. With Zenphi, you just do it in a matter of hours, literally, or even less than hours. But then my favorite thing is, and based on my experience, what I've seen is when you automate this stuff, you start finding best ways of optimizing them, or regulation changes, your way of working changes. You want to make changes to them, and you don't really have to go back to any developer and say, hey, can you write this, test it, debug it, put it through this, and then deploy it. It's going to set you back months and months of work. Here at Zenphi, making a change is quite easy. In fact, we really encourage our users to do small and iterative improvement to their processes because it's quite easy. It's a different way, new way of working. For example, here, if I say, you know what, now legal is not happy that all the documents are just going out. They just want to have a quick review or a quick approval of the document before it gets sent. So for that, but they still don't want to do the groundwork of creating the document and uploading to DocuSign. For that, it's quite easy. You come here, like you've got different approval processes. I just add one of these. We say, once you generate the document, go assign a task. Let's actually say get legal approval. Say a legal approval. And you can start configuring the task. The task you can have multiple outcomes. Can be approve or reject. When it be approved, reject, send back for review, or can have single outcome saying done. It depends what you want to do. But in our case, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to assign it to the same person who actually sent it. And in real life, you want to assign it to to your legal department. I say NDA request for, and I put the name here I put the company name here. I can construct the email body. I'm just going to put something simple. Hi, please review the attached NDA which was requested by, I put the initiator email here. Say and approve, reject accordingly. And one last thing I want to do, I want to attach the NDA here. I can put a link to the drive as well, or I can attach the actual file. Let's do that. I'm going to do that one more time. After that, let me terminate the flow, just because for testing purpose, I don't want to run the whole thing. Save, because I want to test the process. I'm not going to go and submit the form again. I'm just doing a test run. Say using the previous instance, I'm going to use this one. Say start. So this is another really useful thing within Zenphi. Testing, creating your app, testing it. It's quite easy. Everything is built in. We've really tried hard to make everyone's life as easy as possible as when it gets to interacting with creating a software. So as you can see, it's gone through all the steps. It's generated a document. It's assigned a task. So if I go to this mailbox, I'm going to delete this one. As you can see, the task has already come through. This is the body of the task I constructed dynamically, and I can say approve or reject. As easy as that. I say approve. Yeah, it's going to go ahead. If I go back to Zenphi, as you can see, it's already finished because it's hit the terminal. Now, if I'm happy with everything, I'm going to say I'm going to press publish, and this kind of change is going to be available to everyone. So making a change is quite easy. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea about automating a simple process in Zenphi, but I'm going to delete these ones. But also, this was a simple case, but here I want to highlight that you can automate the most complex processes with Zenphi quite easily as well. You've got quite a few things, everything from state machines, switching, pausing, running stuff in parallel, all are built in with Zenphi and all with drag and drop. we've got a ton of integration with many systems, as you can see some of them here. Some of them I'm gonna show you here. Basically, we've got quite a few integration. If I go here, the connections available out of the box, there's quite a few of them. There's quite a few that you can request to get access to. So we appreciate processes normally span across multiple systems, mostly within Google Workspace, but people use Asana, people use Jira, people use Trello. We totally understand and appreciate that. If I go back to my designer, and on top of that, there's a lot of useful actions. For example, if you want to play around with PDF to convert HTML to PDF, split PDF, extract pages from PDF, all built in there. So it gives you a lot of flexibility to do a lot of to automate the most complex processes as well. The other thing I want to highlight here that we understand and appreciate, once you automate this, and we have seen this based on our experience, once you automate your process, the next question is, what's happening there? What's happening with this? What's happening with that process? Or how many NDAs did I approve? How many, say, in case of invoice processing process, how many invoices came through from this vendor? How many processes are in pending? Those are the natural questions everyone will be getting, because now it's digital, it's not a black box. It's a lot more to get an answer to those questions. So for that, we've got the concept of the dashboards, which are powered by tables. Let me first cover tables here. We've got like one option, as you saw in our NDA case, we use Google Sheet as our database backend. We can definitely do that. The options are yours. But if you really want a sophisticated database, and you don't want to go and buy another third-party system, good news is that Zenphi has got tables built in there. As you can see, the look and feel, it's like a spreadsheets, and they're quite easy to use. You can add columns, and the best part is that they are integrated into Zenphi flows. So I'm going to go back to my flow one more time to show you the tables integration. Then I'm going to step out of it. So you can see, for example, here, instead of adding to Google, if I didn't want to add it to Google Sheet, I wanted to add to Zenphi table, I can go and find the Zenphi table tables here and say create record. Because it's built in, the configuration is quite easy. You just say I want to populate these fields, and from here you can easily use the values. So that's built in, quite handy. It's a proper database, handles concurrency, unlike Google Sheets and the other ones. They handle concurrency pretty well. So tables are built in. You can create tables and use them. If you understand that's normally part of the process automation to store some data. So we're just removing the need for you to go and buy many different SaaS providers subscriptions to automate your process. We're providing everything on the same umbrella to you. But now, going back to the process insight version of it, now we've got the concept of the dashboard where you can easily visualize data and get insight into executions of your processes. For example, in here, I can see number of NDA requests per location. You build these things yourself, but they're quite easy because we understand, what's important to you may not be important to the other people. At the end of the day, the way you operate is your intellectual property. And we don't want you to change because a software behaves a certain way. So the software needs to be fluid and flexible enough to be able to accommodate for your way of working. You can create all those pages. You can say, for example, what's waiting on me from the London office. You can do the cross filtering. You can have an overview of what's happening to Kanban. But if you're head of, say, legal, you want to see, is your team adhering to the SLA? You can create something like this. Seeing if you're not, you're in the yellow. Let's see how San Francisco is doing. Not much better, everyone seems to be in yellow. And also you can put a an instruction or guide about the process. On top of that, if you want, you can embed the form in one of these pages, make them available here. So they're all in there, available for you to be used. Now, there's a ton more I want to show you here, but we're conscious of time. I just want to leave you with one more thing, which is available out of the box in Zenphi, and that's the what we call intelligent document processing. So, so Zenphi has got built-in IDP, intelligent document processing. These are AI-powered models which enable you to extract information from various documents. And best of all, they integrate into Zenphi. For example, if you want to create an invoice parser, I've already created one. You just create one, click on create here. As you see, we've got pre-trained models available, but I've already created one. You just create one, and the way it works, you just give it a sample document. Let me turn off the tables here. And the way it works, you just come here, give it a sample invoice, and say, I'm interested in extracting, for example, supplier IBAN. You just say plus, give it a name, or I'm interested in extracting the ABN or the total amount. Here I've specified the values I want to extract from the invoice. I want to highlight, this is just a sample invoice to indicate the fields you're interested in. The structure doesn't matter. From now on, any invoice of any structure you give it to this model, it tries to extract all those information as best as it can. Once you've done that, all you need to do is press publish, and like everything else, it's really integrated into Zenphi. I'm just going to show you quickly how you can use it in Zenphi or in the same flow. Just imagine if this was an invoice processing trigger. Actually, let me show you the triggers when an email arrives. I'm going to quickly show you this one. When an email arrives, you want to get the attachment and run the AI model on the attachment to extract those information. So for your accounts payable does not need to open up the email, save the file, extract the information, and put it in another system. It's as easy as dragging and dropping this run AI action and say, go, you know what, go and get the model I just created it and run it on the attachment of the email coming through. Once you do that, as you can see, the output of it are all those fields that we indicated we are interested in: total amount, supplier, tax amount, freight, etc. It's really, really easy. And from here onward, it's available to all the subsequent actions. So you can put them in the different systems, your finance system, etc. And on top of that, even taking it further, we give you a confidence score. You know, if you want to check, you know, like for example, confidence score is below a certain threshold, you want to bring in your account payable just to review data, not just to extract, just to review and say, yes, I'm happy with it, go ahead. So as easy as that, you can save a ton of time and money for your company, for your employees, create happier employees because they don't have to do the mundane tasks. And it's quite, as you can see, it's quite easy. It doesn't need a really huge commitment from your side to get it started and automating all those processes which you have been saying no to because it's just too expensive and too time consuming to automate. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to walk you through Zenphi and introduce you to Zenphi. Please reach out if you've got any question or suggestion. Have a great day.